There's a reason why Sigma males slowly turn cold. They don't start that way, but life has a way of teaching brutal lessons. Lessons that force them to trust less, feel less, and expect less. And once a Sigma reaches that point, there's no going back. Because when you realize how people really are, how selfish, dishonest, and unpredictable they can be, you stop giving away your emotions for free. You stop letting the world play with your heart. And before you even realize it, you've changed. You've become cold, untouchable, and completely detached. But how does this transformation happen? What pushes Sigma males to close themselves off from the world? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just see yourself in this journey. Sigma males are different from the rest. They don't chase status like alpha males, and they don't follow the crowd like betas. They walk their own path, independent, self-reliant, and completely indifferent to society's expectations. But here's the thing. Sigma males don't start off cold. In fact, many of them begin their journey as hopeful, open-minded, and even emotionally available. They want to believe in loyalty, in love, in deep human connections, until life teaches them otherwise. See, a Sigma male's cold-heartedness isn't something he's born with. It's something he develops over time. It's a defense mechanism, a necessary adaptation to a world that doesn't always reward kindness, honesty, or trust. The more experiences he goes through, the more he realizes the truth. People are self-serving. Betrayal is inevitable. Love isn't always what it seems. And so, little by little, the Sigma hardens himself. He stops expecting people to be genuine. He stops opening up to those who haven't proven themselves. He stops wasting his energy on relationships that don't serve him. This transformation isn't sudden. It's slow, calculated, and irreversible. It happens in phases, each one reinforcing the next. And once a Sigma reaches that final stage, he becomes someone completely different. A man who trusts almost no one, relies on himself, and moves through life with an unshakable emotional detachment. So in this video, we're going to break down the 7 key reasons why Sigma males slowly become cold-hearted. And by the end, you might just realize that you're going through this transformation yourself. Let's get into it. 1. They get used to betrayal. At some point in his life, a Sigma male learns a hard truth. Loyalty is rare. It doesn't matter if it's a friend, a partner, or even family. At some point, someone he trusted deeply will betray him. Maybe it's a best friend who stabs him in the back. Maybe it's a woman he loved who lied to him. Maybe it's a family member who let him down when he needed them the most. Whatever the case, the lesson is always the same. Trust is fragile, and most people only look out for themselves. At first, he doesn't want to believe it. He might give people second chances, make excuses for their behavior, and tell himself that not everyone is like this. But over time, the betrayals start stacking up, and with each one, he gets a little colder, a little more distant, a little less willing to let people in, until eventually he stops expecting loyalty from anyone but himself. This shift is crucial. It means he no longer relies on others for emotional security. He no longer invests in people who haven't proven themselves. And most importantly, he never gets blindsided by betrayal again. Because now, he sees it coming before it even happens. 2, they realize most people are self-serving. One of the biggest wake-up calls for a Sigma male is realizing that most people don't actually care about him. They care about what he can do for them. At first, he might not notice it. He might believe that people are genuine, that friendships are built on mutual respect, and that relationships are about deep emotional connection. But then he starts noticing patterns. People only hit him up when they need something. Women show interest when he's doing well, but disappear when he's struggling. Friends act supportive, but secretly hope he fails. Slowly, he starts seeing the world for what it really is, a place where most people operate based on self-interest. And once he fully understands this, he stops expecting anything different. He no longer assumes people are in his life because they truly value him. Instead, he watches carefully, analyzing whether someone's presence is based on genuine connection or selfish motives. This realization changes everything. He stops wasting time on people who don't bring real value. He becomes extremely selective about who he lets into his life. And most importantly, he stops giving his energy away for free. It's not that he hates people, it's that he understands them too well. And when you understand people at that level, it's almost impossible not to become a little colder. 3. They learn that emotions are a weakness in the wrong hands. A Sigma male doesn't naturally suppress his emotions. He learns to. Why? Because he discovers that in the wrong hands, emotions are a weapon, and he refuses to be a target. Early in life, he might be open about his feelings. He might express when he's hurt, when he's excited, when he cares deeply about someone. He assumes that honesty will be met with understanding, but instead he gets manipulated by those who exploit his vulnerabilities, mocked for showing too much emotion, used by people who take advantage of his kindness. He notices that when he opens up too much, people start testing his limits. They see how far they can push him, they learn what triggers him, and they use it, whether consciously or subconsciously, to control him. He might have been in relationships where his emotions were twisted against him. He shows affection, she starts pulling away to make him chase. He expresses concern, she calls him insecure or controlling. He gets frustrated, she gaslights him into thinking he's overreacting. Or maybe in friendships, the moment he stops being useful, he sees how quickly people lose interest in him. This teaches him a powerful lesson. The more people know about your emotions, the more power they have over you. So he shuts that door. He stops over-explaining his feelings. He masters the art of emotional self-control, so no one ever sees what he's truly thinking. He lets people guess how he feels instead of giving them the upper hand. This shift is subtle, but it's deadly effective. Because when people can't read you, they can't manipulate you. And when they can't manipulate you, they start fearing what you're capable of. A Sigma male doesn't become cold-hearted because he wants to. He becomes cold-hearted because experience forces him to. And once he learns to control his emotions rather than letting them control him, he becomes a man no one can break. They see that love is rare and often temporary. At some point, a Sigma male realizes that real love is rare. Not just romantic love, but love in all forms. Genuine friendships that aren't built on convenience, family bonds that aren't conditional, romantic relationships that don't come with an expiration date. In his younger years, he might have believed in the fantasy of love, the idea that when people say they care, they mean it forever. That relationships, whether friendships or romance, are built on deep, lasting connections. But the more he experiences life, the more he sees the truth. People love you for what you provide, not who you are. Most friendships are situational. When the situation changes, so do the people. Loyalty is often just an illusion. People stay until it's no longer beneficial for them. He watches relationships crumble over petty reasons. He sees friendships fade when circumstances change. He notices that even family can turn cold when money, status, or personal gain is involved. This doesn't make him bitter. It makes him realistic. Instead of chasing temporary connections, he values solitude. Instead of expecting forever, he lives in the moment. Instead of believing in words, he only believes in consistent actions over time. And this shift makes him dangerously independent. Because when a man stops believing that love is something he needs, he becomes unstoppable. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't fear being alone. And ironically, this makes him even more attractive. Because in a world where most people crave validation, a man who truly doesn't need it becomes the most magnetic presence in any room. But make no mistake, this doesn't mean he's incapable of love. It just means that by the time he opens his heart again, he's cold enough to walk away the second he senses it's not real. 5. They realize that silence is more powerful than words. A Sigma male wasn't always silent. He used to speak his mind, thinking that logic and reason would win people over. But over time, he notices something. Most people don't actually listen. They only wait for their turn to talk. They twist words to fit their own narrative. They pretend to understand, but their actions never change. And worst of all, the more you explain yourself, the less people respect you. That's when the Sigma male makes a shift. He stops explaining. He doesn't justify his decisions. He doesn't argue with people who are committed to misunderstanding him. He doesn't waste energy trying to prove his worth. Instead, he does something far more powerful. He lets his actions speak. When someone disrespects him, He removes them from his life without a word. When people gossip or spread lies, he remains silent because truth needs no defense. When others try to provoke him, he doesn't react because control is his greatest weapon. This silence isn't weakness, it's absolute dominance, because the less he speaks, the more people start overthinking. Why didn't he respond? Is he angry, or does he just not care? Did I lose my chance with him? And when people start wondering about you instead of dismissing you, you've already won. A Sigma male learns that true power doesn't come from how loud you are. It comes from how little you need to say. 6. They stop giving. Second chances. A Sigma male values loyalty, but he doesn't beg for it. In the past, he might have been forgiving, willing to give people another chance after they betrayed him, lied to him, or took him for granted. But experience teaches him a brutal truth. The people who hurt you once will hurt you again. That friend who betrayed your trust, he'll do it again. That woman who played mind games, she'll do it again. That family member who only comes around when they need something, they'll do it again. Sigma males don't waste time fixing broken relationships. They replace them. You lie, you're gone. You break trust, you're gone. You show your true colors, he believes you the first time. And the scariest part, he doesn't announce it. One day you're in his life. The next, you're just a memory. And nothing haunts a person more than realizing they lost someone who would have done anything for them. A Sigma male doesn't hate the people who betray him. He just removes them. And in doing so, he teaches them a lesson they'll never forget. Because when a Sigma walks away, he never looks back. If you've made it this far, it means you see the truth, the reality of why Sigma males become the way they are. But let me ask you, have you experienced any of these transformations in your own life? Drop a comment below and let me know. Which one of these resonated with you the most? And if you're someone who's tired of being taken for granted, tired of being used and ready to step into your power, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because this channel is all about helping you unlock the highest version of yourself. Stay strong, stay sharp, and as always, keep moving in silence.